At least we've lasted longer than the new host of Jeopardy. This is Cory, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Only 385 weeks longer than that. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 385 of the O The Anthem podcast, coming to you from all over LA. But of course, Cory is there, the hashtag OTA LA studios, slowly gentrifying LA, one neighborhood at a time. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for listening on your podcatcher of choice. The easiest way, anchor.fm/O The Anthem.
So I meant to tell you this in the pre-show call, Cory, but
I almost said OnlyFans because we were the discussion
talked about OnlyFans?
Yeah, discussion in the
I
pre-show.
forgot to tell you, I've developed a new mantra for life, by the way.
What's that?
So there's this concept called black pilling. Do you know what black pilling is?
No.
So you know what red pilling is?
Yeah, it's like where you make somebody go alt-right, basically.
Right. And blue pilling?
Make them go alt-left, I guess.
Yeah, but people don't usually use that because, we're people on the left are relatively not crazy. So we don't use the term blue pilling. Green pilling?
Green party? Or
yeah, well, like making people super environmentally conscious, like somebody awakening and realizing like everything I do has an impact on the environment, and not realizing that the U.S. military pollutes more than 14 countries combined. And 70 or 13 companies pollute more than 70% of the countries.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, black pilling is when you come to the realization that all hope is lost, that people will never change, that we are doomed not only as a species, but possibly as a planet as well. And you just accept that all hope is lost. And I have reached that point that I have completely lost hope for any sort of change, for anyone to improve, for life itself to ever get better. And I feel bad for anyone who would make any plans that would involve the future whatsoever. So how was your week, Cory?
So I'm going to be a father.
I knocked my light down. Did you see that?
I was going to say, suddenly the background looked awfully green.
Oh, I could not have. I literally was just, while I was puking right before the show, I was like, I bet this would be a really good way to talk about it. So anyway, yeah.
Did you lose both your lights? Did you like fucking...
No, so I only have one working light because the other one, the plug doesn't work.
Oh.
So I have to do this wonderful behind me thing, and that's I just kicked all the way back and elbowed and did the whole nine. I'm gonna put you on solo here, and you can give everyone the joyous news, and I'll try to fix my shit.
Yeah. So if you were following me or Rachel on social, you probably saw that we have found out that Rachel is pregnant, and I will be a father. The baby is due in December, and if you're doing the math in your head and going, wait, that's less than like 9 months. Yeah, it is, because we didn't know for a little while. But I'm very happy. I'm so, like, I can't wait to welcome the baby into the world. I know the sex. Some people apparently are really weird about not wanting to know. Like, my dad doesn't want to know.
Yeah, because they don't want you to misgender the baby. Let the baby decide what gender it is.
I don't think that's why my dad doesn't want to know. I think he just is old school and wants to be surprised, like in the hospital or something like that. Like he shows up with like
he's gonna have 2 cigars,
like a baseball bat and a tutu, and he's just like, which one am I giving to my grandbaby?
Joseph R. Biden III. Cory plans on naming it Joseph R. Biden III, no matter what.
No, no, thank you. It would be Josephine if it was
okay.
Well,
that's it. That's good. That's good.
But yeah, I'm super stoked. I can't wait, and I'm starting to get excited about the things to come. I'm also like trying to relish moments like today. I took a nap.
Taking a nap at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I said to myself, like, God, I'm just feeling a little like I just feel a little tired. I know I got the podcast coming up, so maybe it behooves me to just take like a quick half-hour power nap. And like clearly, at some point, Rob will just be texting, going like, "I'm heading home," and then somebody will wake me up and make sure I know about it. And then like an hour and a half later, I woke up from the nap. But
Well, so
I'm gonna have to nap on the baby schedule at some point here. So,
well, I just so for clarity for everyone, Cory, for one time ever, had to wake up at the same time that I wake up every single day, and
yeah.
this was just a bridge too far. He required a nap in the afternoon in order to make it to podcast
Well,
time.
you see, the problem is that like I could hypothetically be one of those people who like wake up at 8 a.m. every morning or earlier. But what?
Okay, no, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying like I could schedule my wake up time at any point if I wanted to.
Sure, if you schedule your bedtime at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you take a nice 4-hour nap and then
No. I could, like there's plenty. It's just funny because like sometimes I look at my sleep data because I have a sleep tracker, and you see the days where I'm not working on set because I get like a full 8 healthy hours of sleep because I fall asleep at like 4 a.m. and then wake up at noon, and then that's how that works. Artist hours, and then this is all sounding great for people who are like, I can't wait for this baby to come.
Oh, this baby is gonna be amazing.
But then all the days that I'm on set, it's like you only got 2.5 hours of sleep last night because like I can't regulate the fall asleep at 4 a.m. part, even when I have to like wake up for a 7 a.m. call and I got to get up at 6 and blah blah blah.
And two notes for those of you at home who might be thinking, oh my God, you're going to bring a baby into this? Two things. One, if you hear a bell like ringing in the background, that's Brooks. And yes, he's asking for attention. And no, Rachel's not there because she had something to do tonight. So she left the dog with Cory while he was doing the podcast because clearly not going to be a problem at all. In the future, he will be rocking the baby during the podcast because he'll be left alone with the child while we're having the podcast together.
I'll just be rocking a baby going like, well, clearly that's fucked up.
And second of all, no, all you guys on Reddit, don't slow down the footage. He was not blinking. Please, God, help me. I need to escape in Morse code while he was saying, I'm so happy. I can't wait to bring the baby. There was no Morse code message at all.
No, I really am excited. We had discussed the idea that, if Rachel had gotten pregnant, and we both decided that, we would want to have a baby. So it wasn't like we were gunning for it, but it's also like, now it seems like you're never going to be able to pick the perfect time. And clearly in the middle of a pandemic and political strife and, Afghanistan and all kinds of nonsense, now is the perfect time to bring one more human being into the existence. So,
yep.
Yay. I mean, like, I just, Rob sent the thing before he knew. Was it before you knew? Or with the like, if you got a pandemic without a baby, a puppy, or a house plant?
It was after you knew, but before I knew.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super funny because you got a puppy during the pandemic.
Yeah.
During the pandemic.
Oh no, it was a air fryer was the third one.
Yes. Yes.
And then you were just like, well, it looks like you guys are 2 for 3. And then we're like, Rachel and I are looking at each other laughing. To be fair, we had an air fryer before. We just got a new one at some point during the pandemic.
I don't think I bought you that. I think that was a gift for Rachel, wasn't it? Wasn't it her Christmas gift or something? The air fryer? Or wait, was that the mixer?
The mixer.
This is the age that we're at. Another thing I learned about this age that we're at is that it is inappropriate to ask, what are you gonna do when your 40-year-old friends announce that they're pregnant?
Well, it's the second best joke at the hands of it. The first was we called my dad with the news. It was like 10 p.m. East Coast time, so he was still up, but he wasn't like, he was just punchy,
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, hey, great news, Rachel's pregnant. He's just like, oh, who's the father? Thanks, Dad. Classic dad joke from the top rope on the on the reveal.
So I am more convinced than ever that Bill's actually my dad, and that my dad might be your dad. There might be some kind of mix-up because my dad's super nice. Would never make that kind of joke. Cory would never make that kind of joke. But like, I will never have children that I will ever recognize in any meaningful way. But if I was to do that, I would 100% make that joke to my kid. Just like, congrats, I'm pregnant. I'm like, great. Who's the father? There's a lot of jokes. We have plenty of time. I mean, yes, Rachel was almost on an episode of I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. Absent.
I mean,
absent finally being pushed to go.
We're halfway through at this point, so but you know what? I'll say this. Everything so far looks healthy. We just got blood test results.
Yes. Her geriatric pregnancy is going as well as it could be expected.
As a geriatric millennial, she's holding in there, and I think it's a good thing that, like, I think it says good things about the pregnancy if the first 4.5 months went through without any kind of incident, because I know there's some women out there who, like, 2 weeks in will have morning sickness and stuff like that, like will start having some sort of negative symptom of being pregnant almost immediately after contraception, or after conception, not contraception. After conception.
Contraception is what you should have been using, and then this wouldn't have happened.
But I'm blessed or I'm happy for Rachel that she's not dealing with all the awful things that some women deal with.
I do want to point out, though, by the way, I don't know what it is, but 3 to 4 weeks after conception, and I do make this joke, like, not regularly, but infrequently. I make this joke.
You make it enough that I accused you of just doing it all the time, just so that you would be right one of these times. It's like the person who's just like every single offseason, they were just like, oh, this is the year the Orioles win the World Series, because like one year it'll happen, and then one year they'll look like a genius because they called it.
True. Yes.
And now, people don't ignore the 87 years of misery that happened in between the last World Series.
We talked about this over the weekend. I went back to the group chat to check again. The time before that I mentioned it was November of the previous year. So yes, twice in 6 months I brought it up. Both times I brought it up, I had like an inkling. That's not true. The first time was probably a joke, because I think it was right after you got Brooks. Was that like November-ish? October, November?
Yeah.
And I said, well, she got the puppy. Next thing she's going to get you is the baby. And then I looked at her and I was like,
see, but I also think,
is she pregnant already?
I also think that you're misrepresenting how much you talk about it, because you're just looking in the group chat.
Okay,
because you might lose.
I have
gifts.
mentioned it more over the last 6 months than I have in years prior, and I think that's because something in my lizard brain said she got a baby in her, and everybody was like, Rob, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. And then 20 weeks in, we find out I'm just walking around with all
all right, moving on. Should I reveal the gender, since I know, or
I know,
and like do it in like, I mean, I'm gonna do it on like Facebook and stuff like that tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that if people want to know, they can follow you on Facebook. Okay. What's your Facebook?
I mean, it's going to be on the Instagram too, so let's just put it there. At LegendCB5 on Instagram.
So go find it if you want to find it. If you don't, if you are weird like Cory's dad. Now, see, my dad, also opposite of that, was very much like pressing my sister.
Tell me.
Because he wanted to get ready for it, and get ready involved absolutely nothing, just emotionally preparing. I think, like, he didn't buy anything. He wanted to go with the green room for the baby, not or green or yellow, like nice and neutral. I'm like, what? You were like on her every visit. Like, did you find out the gender? What's the gender? Like, what? And then no baseball bats, no tutus, just like, all right, so we're gonna do a green room and ducks. How's that sound? Like, you had to get emotionally prepared for the gender. Like, I got to know what to expect when that baby pops out here. I'm going to be changing diapers. What am I going to see when the diaper comes off? I need to know. And then, Cory's dad doesn't have that problem, because it's going to be either way. There's just a question. It's going to be a question forever. I mean, look at the father. So I understand that completely. LegendCB5 on Instagram, where you can see the gender.
follow the Instagram immediately after that comment.
Can you put the gender? Can you do like a double panel? First one, write it on a piece of paper, hide it under a Dixie cup, and then the second one, reveal it and put it.
Oh God, it's red Solo cup, girthy red Solo cup. All right, not a Dixie cup. You say that all the time. Moving on.
I'm an audience of one.
Moving
I'm really just,
moving
I'm
on.
just here for
Moving on to
myself.
real stories with real consequences, not
Speaking of mistakes that took 20 years to play out, Afghanistan still an issue.
Oh. Anywho, uh
So Afghanistan's a mess. And I think you pointed out in our pre-show call, and I think this, the more I think about it, is absolutely accurate. No matter what, Joe Biden's just going to be the punching bag for everybody now, because it's not me. It's not me, and it can't be me. So dump on Joe. And my argument against that was I went on Snapchat, and I recommend everybody do it. Snapchat's like got this cool like map feature, which is great because you can see where your friends are and see what's happening around them. But also, you can go to Kabul, Afghanistan, and just watch people's snaps. And I watched a snap series that was pretty sure it was a CNN cameraman and reporter. And much like we talked about during the 2020 election, or maybe it was 2016 election, we've been doing this a long time. There was like a crowd around the reporter, and it made it look like there was a lot of action. But then as soon as the light went off, like everybody scattered. And from their perspective of the person on Snapchat, you could see that there wasn't that much going on, and it was relatively calm.
I mean,
so maybe there's a little bit of performance art, but CNN benefits from that, right? So
I'm not there is definitely things going on, but I mean, like, I feel like the interest of everybody is to act like, how could this, like, how did this perfect little thing that was going so well all of a sudden fall apart over a weekend in Joe Biden's watch? Like, there's, there's a if CNN had made a story like, on the fall of Kabul, it was just like, well, yeah, everyone sort of knew this was going to happen anyway, moving on to another news, then, like, people aren't going to stick around and watch 15 hours worth of coverage of what's going on. Yeah, like,
Wolf Blitzer reading one page of news.
Yeah,
tonight in Kabul.
I mean, like, because it's, there's no way to... Talking about any war in Afghanistan doesn't just start with September 11, 2001. It goes beyond that. And to talk about the rise of terrorist networks across the globe is an even further conversation. And, you got to remember that, Reagan once sold arms to bin Laden. So, this is not like they were friends when they were doing things that we wanted them to do. And then they were enemies when they were flying planes into our buildings. So, I mean,
to be fair, we trained them how to do that. We were just okay with it as long as they were going to fly a plane into a Soviet building.
Yeah. I mean,
whoa, guys. Now you're using this against us? This is not cool. You're the bad guys now.
Well, no, I mean, to be fair, it was just like, ground game stuff with bin Laden and stuff like that back then. The flying of the planes was when they came to the
CIA training manual number 54, published in 1988. You can find it. It's a training manual for the Mujahideen about how to use box cutters to take over commercial flights and use them as weapons.
Okay.
Published by the CIA under Reagan administration.
I think that's a dumb thing to put out there, but I'll take your word for it.
I'm just saying, things are out there, and we train people how to do stuff, and then we got mad when they used it against us.
No, the problem is that everyone wants to look into this as a clearly what does it mean this season of America? Like, we're not concerned with where this story has gone before, and we're not concerned about, like, the countless lives that have been destroyed by American interventionism around the globe for no other reason than there was some sort of larger political interest in having, bin Laden work for us, or have the decide, start calling balls and strike in Central America, or any of the other things that America has done throughout its history to try and influence itself into a global scale, and then failing at that, and then creating awful consequences that we deal with for the rest of our lives. Like
in Afghanistan specifically, there was a democratically elected leftist in Iran in the 50s who we overthrew and put the Shah in power, and then the Islamic Revolution was in response to him. Radicalization of Iran, neighbor to Afghanistan, led to radicalization of this like rebel group in Afghanistan, and then their radicalization is what led the Soviets to invade. So once again, us murdering someone to try and play geopolitics in Iran led us down this road, which we then gave money to the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen then became supporters of Al Qaeda. So like and then you can keep going back further and further. And it's not even, it's just like all parts of the world. Our border issues today are terrible, but also we spent 100 years funding death squads in Central America, which is what causes people to flee and come to America. So,
it's and the fact that that like Biden is, listen, I'm not saying Biden isn't responsible for a little bit of Afghanistan because he was vice president during 8 years of Obama. So clearly he has his hands involved in the greater sum of what has the failings of Afghanistan and stuff like that. Honestly, I just feel like they all thought like, okay, this whole thing's going to fall apart as soon as the Afghan army is left to their own devices because this is not getting any better over 20 years worth of investment. But we'll like, that'll just be some person's problem at some point. Somebody will hold the bag, and they're gonna take a rough week or so with people bagging on them. And like Republicans have every political interest to act like Joe Biden fucked this whole thing up all by himself, like because he's the guy in the shop right now, and nothing else seems to be working. So let's give a whack at this because it worked really well with Benghazi and Clinton. Yep. Even though you never proved anything, you just got to have hearings and Benghazi all the time. So like
but then of course Biden,
you Monday morning quarterback every single fucking decision. Like, why are there people hanging off the side of airplanes and stuff like that? It's just like, yeah, clearly Biden didn't do everything perfectly, and that's why there's footage of stuff not going well. But at the same time, and I think this is kind of what the point he was trying to make the other day, which is like, there's no version of this where it goes smoothly.
Yeah.
Like in an alternate, like, so he didn't bring this up. I'm bringing this up. But think about it like there's a massive hurricane that's going to hit Miami in South Florida. And they are saying everyone needs to get out, needs to evacuate. And they say, you have 72 hours to get the fuck out of Miami. Like, that's going to look like a shit show. Like, everyone trying to leave a city all at the same time is going to look like chaos because there's no way to say like, oh, everybody single file line up against the side of the wall and let's move slowly so that we can all get out safely. Like,
I disagree. I don't think it will because I think half of the population will be like, these liberal weathermen want us to
there ain't no hurricane. Fuck this.
It's sunny. Why would there be rain if it's sunny right now? And then they'll all get killed by the hurricane. And then we're supposed to feel bad for them. And I do not feel bad for them at all. But theoretically, your example.
Theoretically, if everyone
pre-pandemic.
No, but I'm saying even if only 50% of them tried to leave, like that's still millions of people trying to flee South Florida, and if there's an event like that where they're saying like, oh, we just have to evacuate South Florida, that's the only one that's gonna get hurt. There's no way people in fucking Tampa and Jacksonville don't get out too. Going like, I don't want to be in the possible path. I'm going to go to
just in case. And then, the president gets on TV and draws a line that extends it into Alabama and up into Tennessee. And he's just like, oh, I live in Nashville. I better get the fuck out of here. Cause
I'm just going to go to Hawaii for a little while and waste their water. Bye.
But the other thing about that is, again,
I'm just going to pour water out of the sink and then throw it in the ocean.
How does this go backwards? Biden's plan was Trump's agreement with the Taliban, not with the Afghan government, with the Taliban, which was based on Biden's plan as vice president under the Obama administration. But I legitimately think that his thought was, if we can get out and the Afghan army can hold until September 11th and we can have this big event, and then I can be like, hey, monkeys, look over here. And then,
hey, fireworks in New York.
Yeah, nobody's going to care. It'll all be over. And then I can just move on with it. And what
The Weeknd is performing. Come to the Weeknd concert.
Instead of 120 days, it took 120 hours for Afghanistan to fall. And he was just like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Plan B.
Well, it's like
I get a bunch of planes.
It's like all the people who bought Teslas like the first week they were available or something like that, and they just like get in the car and press start and go like, I hope this doesn't blow up. Like there's a long history of people buying first gen cars and just going like, man, I hope this wasn't an awful mistake. I hope this.
People who are trying to pre-buy the Tesla robot, you gotta bring a humanoid robot into your home where your
That shit's a
children
Terminator.
are.
That's a Terminator. I seen the movies. It's a Terminator.
It can change diapers. It will rip your child in half. What are you
Also,
thinking about?
I'm not saying that that's not the robot, but I also know
It's
that
not the fucking robot.
I also
Come
know
on.
that Elon got in a lot of shit because he was just like, "Oh yeah, look, the bulletproof glass in our new Tesla Cybertruck," and they fucking hit it with fucking rocks, and it breaks, and then he's just like, "Oh no, what happened?" Like so. I'm not saying that's not the robot, but I'm also saying that might be a guy in a suit who was doing like those dance moves and shit like that. And
I think that argument holds water because based on what I'm seeing from the California recall, I know what a guy in a suit awkwardly dancing looks like. However, that's not for a transition. A guy sewn into a suit awkwardly dancing. Pretty disturbing. Saw it on Tesla. See it in the governor recall election. Because Gavin Newsom's doing a lot of tap dancing right now to try and avoid being recalled. Because Cory educated me. I am happy to admit when I learned something new, because otherwise I'm just walking around like all the time. But it's either Arizona or New Mexico where you get a 2-round vote. Like you might be recalled, but you can also, as the governor, run in the recall election. And my assumption was that was California. And Gavin Newsom was like, all right, well, if they recall me, fine, whatever. I'll just win the recall election. But that's not how it works. If you get recalled, you're out.
Yeah, he's done. If yes wins.
And then, luckily, the Democrats have nominated somebody who nobody knows to run against them in the recall. But I mean,
California Democrats fucked this up. So basically, here's where we are. Gavin Newsom is going up against the recall election. It's the 14th. I hope that's right because I hope it's not the 13th and people are just like, well, I'm going to go vote on election day.
Well, wait. So if you're a Republican, the voting day for Republicans
in October
is
sometime.
September 23rd. For Democrats, it's on a different day because Republicans, the Democrats, they're always late. You know what kind of voters they are. They're always late to everything. So we give them an earlier day and give them a little extra time.
Election day is September 14th, according to StopTheRepublicanRecall.com.
Which is the basket he's putting all his chips in. All his chips are going in that basket.
Yeah. See, the problem is like Newsom just doesn't have it inside of him to just like admit that everyone fucking doesn't like him right now. So here's let me explain it for people outside of California. It's not that he's a bad governor. It's not that he's doing bad things. It's not like he's massively corrupt or anything like that. He's just kind of dumb. He just kind of does dumb things, and like he just seems like like a machine that you just feed talking points into, and then he regurgitates them in front of a camera.
Terminator, a talking Terminator,
more or less. I mean, he's got all the
impersonator.
He's a good-looking guy with a decent amount of charisma and absolutely no idea how to channel it into meaningful human interaction. It's like he's perfectly sewn into his suit. His slicked back hair is perfect in every single way. He says the right things, but he also says it in the way like California is the 6th largest economy in the world, and just I don't know, it just feels so blasé, and he doesn't even he doesn't know anything about it. They just give him a fact sheet every day, and he memorizes it and then says it out loud. Clearly, the effort to recall him was based off of Republicans in the state of California, and part of the reason why the recall is happening at all is because a judge allowed for extra time based off of COVID restrictions, which was really the only thing that stopped any of these recall efforts from gaining momentum before. You have 3 months or something like that to be able to get enough votes under normal circumstances, and since Newsom has been governor for 3 years now, or 2.5, however it works out.
They keep trying.
They've tried to recall him fucking 15 times. Because California has recall laws. people just start doing recalls like the second that the person gets sworn in.
Yeah.
The district attorney here in Los Angeles County, like the first day he was in office was the first day of the recall effort to get him out.
Yeah.
So like
And
he
it's
doesn't even
going to fail. They always fail because there's not enough Republicans and not enough time under the law.
and I mean like the margin to get the recall going is not like a huge. It's like 15% or something like that of the people who voted. So it's not like this, astronomical like, you have to get 51% of the people who voted in the election to sign on to the recall. Like it's a really low threshold, and I'm sure something that the California supermajority in the state is going to handle the first opportunity they get is to fucking fix the recall minimum to something like, more reasonable than like 15 or 20% or whatever it is.
15% of all registered voters. There's a much bigger number that gets you no time. Will you be able to do that?
But I mean, like, so the big difference here is during the last recall, where Arnold Schwarzenegger ended up winning, Gray Davis was fucking massively unpopular. Like, according to approval ratings, so take them for what they're worth, Gray Davis was like in the 20s or 30s when he got recalled, and Newsom's closer to 50.
And didn't Gray Davis have some sort of like controversy right at the time of the election too?
I mean, I feel like he was just walking into one thing after another, wasn't it? It was just like Sideshow Bob with rakes. It was just like
basically, yeah, right. It was like, I felt like there was like a sex scandal, or
I don't think it was a sex
harassment.
scandal. I think it was like water, like all California politics. It comes down to whether or not you fuck around with the water.
There's the video of him like spraying the governor's lawn, and like, see, you have restrictions, he doesn't, and everybody's like, fuck this guy, I'm gonna vote him out. The Terminator, that's who we need.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, the reason why Arnold won was not because he got 50% of the vote or anything like that. He got like 10 or 15% of the vote.
Amongst a lot of candidates.
Amongst 1,000 candidates who decided to run. It's just a lot of things. I'm looking at it's like his stand on guns and blah, blah, blah. Like,
he's a social liberal, but a fiscal conservative, but he's not socially liberal. Like,
California was also more Republican at the time. Like there was more of a chance that you could have a Republican at statewide office in California at that time than you could right now. And, basically why that Newsom is a little on edge is because the perfectly timed attack stories have started coming out. The skeletons in the closet of the other candidates, specifically Larry Elders, who is a radio host and, from all I can see, awful.
Gun aficionado, apparently.
I don't know. I literally, at some point, I'm just going to watch one of these debates on YouTube just to see if any of them resemble like actual human beings in some sort of way. But, all the, because who the fuck knows San Diego Mayor Pete Faulconer other than people who lived in San Diego? It's not like I saw any people going like, man, I wish Faulconer was back in the mayor's. Like, it's not like there's a groundswell of people who are like crazy about, any of these. John Cox is another one that ran for governor last time. He was against Newsom in the general election and he lost.
Terribly.
Yeah, like 30 points, something like that.
But there's no Democrat running in this recall.
Right, which is the problem. There's no backstop. In the Gray Davis one, at the last minute, they got the Lieutenant Governor, Cruz Bustamante, to run as like, in case Gray Davis loses, everyone votes for Cruz. And then the funny thing of being the active lieutenant governor to Gray Davis and then running a campaign that was just like, I don't think we should recall Gray Davis, but if you do recall Gray Davis, vote for me. And remember that I had absolutely nothing to do with what he did. Like, I'm just the number 2 for the entire thing that he's just been doing, but I had nothing to do with it. So, yes, I think he's a great guy. You should vote for him. But if you don't, then vote for me, because I'll be totally different, even though I'm in the same house.
We should have nominated Dianne Feinstein to the recall election.
And the worst part about this whole thing is, like, it's all about this campaign of fear, which is a lot of what like Trump and Biden was too. And I get it if you live in a place where there's a chance that it could go either way. Like, in Michigan, I just tell everyone to vote for Biden. Don't fuck around. Just vote for Biden. Like, like I don't have time for us to lose Michigan or something. Like, and I think the fact that people felt that is why he won in states like Georgia and Arizona and stuff like, because more people were like, well, my vote might actually matter this time, so I'm going to vote for Joe Biden and not some third party candidate.
But also, there wasn't really a Gary Johnson, Jill Stein.
Yeah, no, there was no reasonable third party candidate at this one either.
I think Gary Johnson was in it, but he's gotten crazier over 4 years. 2016 Gary Johnson and 2020 Gary Johnson were not the same guy. So.
Yeah, yeah. He ran a couple times, and it's gotten a little less bearable every time. But
that's coming from a libertarian. Come on.
The gist here is that they're running this campaign of fear, like the Stop the Republican Recall. That's if you watch YouTube for 10 seconds anytime in California, you're going to see the Stop the Republican Recall of Gavin Newsom, and it's just like Trump Republicans are trying to do this, and Larry Elder's a racist, and like that shit was in the LA Times where they're just like Larry Elder's bad for black people, and it's like he's a black guy, so it's like you're in that complicated like place where you're like calling out I don't know, this is a real fucking shit show, and I don't feel good about it, and I really wish there was just in American politics in general, but in this election in particular, I just wish there was a way to say like, no, I don't want to recall Gavin Newsom, but also I want him to know that I wouldn't do this if there was another choice. Like, because I feel like
for not putting up a good Democrat, because I would 100% recall you for a good Democrat.
Man, if Katie Porter was running, I'd give her money. I can't. I don't want to deal with this. And like the other one that prominent Democrats are doing is to just like, well, Dianne Feinstein's 91 years old, and if she dies or something happens to her, like
retire then, bitch.
During Larry Elder's term, then he could replace her with a Republican. And I'm just like, well, how about just Dianne Feinstein gets the fuck out? Like, how about we're done with Dianne Feinstein to begin with, and then you're not holding this, like, you might lose a Senate seat in this 51-50 Senate. Like, how about just Dianne Feinstein goes fuck herself? Like, that would be the easiest way to avoid. Just put some fucking 30-year-old, put some fucking 30-year-old in the Senate, and just wait
require her to be selfless, and she's not. She gave away the one thing that they knew about a serial killer because she wanted to be the one who broke the news. Yeah. She has no idea how to be selfless.
Fuck Dianne Feinstein. Anyway.
Speaking of that, fuck all of you out there, because Jesus Christ. We're going to be talking about COVID until like 2027 at this point. Lambda is on the move. New and Chi are out. One good thing about this is, for those of you outside of the Greek system in college, you're learning your Greek letters. Good for you. Everybody knows Delta and Gamma. And now we're learning
Epsilon,
Lambda.
Yeah.
Lambda, Mu, Nu, and Chi. That's up next. Fucking assholes. Everybody. But I just want to say I have already experienced what are the crazy conservatives going to say now that Pfizer is approved. Because Pfizer has been officially FDA approved. And it's likely within the next 2 weeks, Moderna will be approved. And shortly after that, Johnson & Johnson will be approved. Full FDA approved.
And mostly because that's the order in which they were granted their emergency petition for approval.
Well, Johnson & Johnson got approved before Moderna, but they've had trouble. They had like the unclear results.
Right.
So they
had some heart condition problems with some of the first run of it.
Which turned out not to be related, by the way.
But also a very small portion of people, and one of the symptoms if you get COVID, by the way, like a severe case of COVID, is heart conditions.
Yeah,
like it's not like you're avoiding any kind of heart conditions by getting COVID instead. So I don't know. I feel at this point there were 3 bands of COVID non-vaccine people in my life, right?
Yeah,
or people that I know. One is people who will not get the vaccine no matter what. They've just decided they're not going to get it. They're standing on some ultra political ground where they're just like, there's no answer that's good enough for them. There's no expert you can show them.
Are all bah, Bah.
Rob
That's
cut
from
out
a
there for
movie
a
from the
second, but
90s.
they're saying that Rob's saying that people are sheeple, like the
Yes.
right wingers are doing. So those people, there's nothing you're going to be able to say. There's no strategy where you're going to be able to change their opinion.
Oh, I'm learning that. Yeah.
They're just going to get sick with COVID and then go to the hospital and then beg for the vaccine and then die.
Good. Fuck them.
Then there's the people who I feel like are like really just
Stupid.
unsure about this whole thing.
The stupid people. Yeah.
I'm just gonna use the word unsure because
Okay.
they don't know. So many people are making noise on both sides of it that they feel like this is a both sides issue, and that there's more of a choice to be made than whether or not to get vaccinated, which is something that throughout history has just been something that we do up until recently.
The stupid people. Throughout history, the dumb people who've held us back.
When the polio vaccine came out, everyone just got the polio vaccine. There wasn't a conversation about like, well, what happens if I take this vaccine and something bad happens to me? The bad thing that could have happened to you was polio. So
polio. Yeah.
Let's all take our polio vaccine. Vaccine hesitancy has been something that's a way more recent issue, like where it became moved to the front, because like smallpox was nearly eradicated.
Yeah.
And then there was little pockets of people who wouldn't vaccinate their kids that would keep it alive in like these little pockets and communities for longer than it had to be. And listen, COVID, like literally one mutation, which could happen to just one person, could be the basis for something that goes beyond the vaccines. So
God, I hope so. Come on. Bring on the killer version.
Now,
kill us all.
Now, the last band of people who are not vaccinated, in my mind, are the people who wanted to see the FDA say something. Say that, this has been tested, it's been gone through the paces, it's gone through all the regulation that it normally goes through, and we are approving this drug. I've heard a couple people say, I'm not going to get it until it's FDA approved. I don't want to do the emergency action thing. I don't live a dangerous life where I'm exposing myself to people with COVID all the time, so I feel like I can wait. For those people, for that band of people, there's no
slightly stupid people.
There is literally no excuse now. Please go get the Pfizer vaccine. If you don't want the Pfizer vaccine, just understand that the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine are relatively the same vaccine. Yeah. So there are differences, but they're so minute that there doesn't seem to be anything between the two vaccines that is causing any kind of difference in like the reaction of people.
No difference in reaction, but Moderna is actually looking a little stronger against the Delta variant.
Yeah. So you got that too.
Reactions, go with Moderna because it's actually stronger and has about the same reactions.
But I mean, like at this point, I feel
wait 2
pretty
weeks and go die in a lobby.
I feel pretty confident that Moderna is going to be approved too. So if you can get Moderna, like instead of Pfizer, just get Moderna.
Well, that's because Cory. That's because they want it to be approved, so of course it'll be approved.
Yeah,
and which apparently, by the way, is a vast communist conspiracy to make the United States socialist, driven by capitalists, led by fascists. So do those fucking mental gymnastics for me. A cabal of fascists are leading a drive of capitalists to turn the United States socialist, to turn the United States communist by driving us towards socialism.
I refuse to believe that any conspiracy that involves more than 10 people to pull off could even happen without somebody knowing something.
Yeah, and
then the people who argue saying like this is all happening are just going like, yeah, because I was told by some friend of a secretary of a second friend of my brother's sister's mother-in-law that,
and yet it's a conspiracy, huh?
Who happens to know fucking
They're all stupid. And every person I know who has who is like this has children. Yeah. They have procreated. And yet I'm walking around with all this every day and no kids. No kids.
Yeah.
This is how the species ends. Because we've realized, the smart people have realized that we do not procreate because things are so terrible. Sorry, Cory, what was your news from this week? To be fair, it wasn't planned. It was an accident. So I mean, just Cory's pull-out games week. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so
I have like had these like passing daydreams, like thinking about like the first time that I get like a moment alone with the new baby, and I just look down at them and I'm just like, you picked a really weird time to come. Like, this is like, oh, it's like a party. Like people are like, you know what? This party was a lot of fun earlier. Now it's getting a little bit weird. You picked a really weird time to come. Like,
so this is my last hope to bring you to my way of thinking. By the way, because
that's probably not gonna happen. But
having
go on.
having held an infant in my arms and not even my own, and thinking to myself, I would do anything to protect you.
Yeah.
And then seeing the world as it is and realizing that sometimes the best way to protect the ones you love is to burn the entire world down around them and rebuild it to something better. I have a feeling that one of two things is going to happen. Either you are going to join the QAnon far righters, or I'm going to bring you to my side. One or the other. I don't think that there's a gulf in between those two.
I feel like the reasonable approach is neither, but I mean, like, I guess let's see what the future holds. I mean,
well, I mean, listen, the reasonable approach would be to not have a maskless, unvaccinated checked concert when an approaching hurricane's coming, but that was too much to ask too, Cory, especially for the city of New York. Who would want to live in that cesspool? Who would voluntarily try to throw their ex-boyfriend out of an apartment to move back there?
Did you see the footage of Stephen Colbert and Chuck Schumer cutting a rug backstage at the concert? Oh man, fucking New York's back. Like, I can't. Like, how about
everything?
How about when
burn the whole world?
How about when we have like fucking 5 cases a day in New York City? We can have the welcome back to New York. I mean, like, I understand they're just trying to like fucking jumpstart the economy and stuff like that, and they think this will be like a good idea. But at the same time, like, how about not? How about like not calling victory on something before? You know, you remember when
Bush
New York
on the aircraft carrier with the mission?
Yeah, well, that one too. That was Afghanistan related, right? That wasn't Iraq.
No, that was Iraq.
Oh, that was Iraq. Okay.
Yeah, we already forgot about Afghanistan.
I got confused which Bush war he was congratulating himself for winning. No, I'm so sad. Like, I understand that people want life to return to normal, and that, you know, like, everything being closed was awful for some people. But I just feel like America is constantly the meme of the guy in third place, like spraying the champagne and kissing the girl. Like
1,000 people are dying a day.
Yeah.
We got that number down to less than 100, and now we're back to 1,000 people a day are dying.
Well, and
10,000 breakthrough deaths, 100,000 breakthrough cases. So even people who are vaccinated are dying. And
like, literally anytime we even start to declare something like, you know, like, oh, we've won, we've figured it out, like, that's a couple weeks before the worst of it happens. I remember New York and LA were getting slammed with COVID cases, and for whatever reason Florida was really low.
Look,
you remember that?
We beat it.
And like, Ron DeSantis like had a press conference where he's like, "It's not here. You don't have to worry about it. Florida figured it out." And there's like articles where like Ron DeSantis figures out COVID. Like he has a crystal brain that figures out how to keep his people from getting sick with COVID. And then like 2 weeks later was when COVID came to Miami and came to Florida and big. Yep. And fucking blew out all kinds of records that New York and California were dealing with. And then still over the course of the next year and a half, fucking Florida is a hotbed for COVID all across the country. I don't know.
I hate everything and everyone.
Well, and this fucking Trump rally, I'm not one to want to give this air, like give this oxygen to breathe, but to host a rally in the lowest vaccinated state, which is Alabama, and a state that at the moment has 0% ICU capacity, or has a
Also, the lowest
0% space.
IQ per
Sorry.
state, though. Lowest IQ per state, which might have something to do with why you have a rally there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't. Trump at one point during that speech talked about how he got the COVID vaccine and it got light boos. It didn't get like a raucous booing, like he's gone too far. I'm not going to support Trump anymore because he brought up the vaccine to me. But Trump definitely floated that test balloon of I got it, you should get it too. And there was enough
No
people
dice.
who were just like, I ain't
No
gonna
dice.
do it, boo. Fucking COVID vaccine, boo. Democrats did it, boo. Like whatever. Even though it was Trump who started the whole vaccine effort.
And he
with
quickly
his warp
pivoted to like
speed and stuff
Biden,
like-
asshole, right? Yeah, right? Yeah.
Well, no, he immediately transitioned to like, no, but I respect your freedoms. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe, but I got the shot and it was fine. And boo that man for his beliefs in the vaccine.
Wait, are they saying boo or
Or
boo earns?
I was saying boo earns. No, but I don't. And also, maybe it's just me. Maybe I've thought about these things. But when I was in Maryland, I was always very happy to know if shit got out of hand, if there was some sort of really awful thing that happened to me. I have University of Maryland shock trauma. I have Johns Hopkins University. I have Mercy. I got, of the
UCLA, one of the top 7.
the top of all the hospitals in the world, Maryland had 4 of them at a time,
Yeah.
And specifically if there was something, if I had a heart attack or something like that, if I had a 25-year-old kid's heart
Seems
attack.
unlikely given all your health concerns. I don't think that's
considering, that I am a professional athlete who's never done anything wrong in my life, I don't know why I would be having that, but I mean, if it were to happen,
sure. Freak accident.
I think the number 1 or 2 heart hospital in the entire country was in Maryland at that point, and you
If
could
you
go
were a
down the
twin
list.
and need to be separated,
Hospitals.
hospitals.
Ben Carson was right there, waiting to do it for you. I and it makes me, it fills my makes me feel hopeful and optimistic that if something goes wrong here in LA, there are many hospitals, many world-class hospitals that I could turn to in a time like this. I would not feel.
Does your insurance work at any of them, though?
Somewhere. So
Only at UCLA, one of the top 7 medical facilities.
just say you're the 7th. Don't say top 7. Top 7 just means that you're 7th. That's how that works.
So I have to ask though. Okay, so I have been trying my best.
Yeah.
But I see the people at work and they're going out and they're living their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I justified continuing to be safe and doing my thing by protecting the people in my home life. But then the people in my home life don't seem to give a fuck at all anyway. They're going out and exposing themselves. They're allowing recent travelers to come to the apartment. So let's say that I was instead worried about that and affecting the people at work because there are people who have children at home. But those people are going to shows and skate parks on a Sunday. So what the fuck am I doing this for now? Why am I doing this? Why am I not going to Hawaii myself? Why am I not going to Mexico myself? Because you know what? I have the funds to do it.
Yeah.
I have the energy and the desire to take a vacation. But I have been justifying to myself that I am protecting home from work and work from home. But neither work nor home seems to give a fuck all about that at any bit about protecting themselves. So why do I feel responsible to protect them? Because honestly, statistically, and you keep arguing this, and you're right, statistically, the likelihood of me getting a case now that I'm vaccinated, the chance of me going in the hospital, extremely low. The chance of me dying while vaccinated, unbelievably low.
Yeah.
So what the fuck am I doing this for?
Well, I guess on the other side of the conversation we were having about the 3 types of people who aren't getting vaccinated at this point,
Yeah.
I do think there's two types of people on the other side of on the on the positive end, on the other end of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
Number one, I think there's a lot of people who are still trying to do everything they possibly can, or are following the rules as according to March of 2020.
Not leaving their apartments, only staying in their bubble, not going out
Doing,
to bars or
like only
restaurants,
making necessary trips, like, I think people
ordering on Amazon.
I think people are doing uh even the most cautious under that group has expanded slightly to to allow for certain things that they, cuz March of 2020 was kind of like a I can't do anything under any, I can't go to the park without my mask.
Wiping
Like,
groceries down when we
yeah,
brought back
exactly.
from the
There
store.
was a lot of things that were happening just because people didn't know what the fuck was going on. Things
Yeah.
are still in flux, which is why I have always felt like I'm going to exceed whatever cautions are being asked of me, just
Okay.
because I feel like it betters my chances of not even getting COVID, even if I'm protected by the extra layer of the vaccines and stuff, like, like.
But again, so what's the second group? The second group that aren't those people.
I think the other group is just people who are like delighting in the idea of the world coming to an end, and
Oh, that
like
might be
more.
me.
No, and I'm saying that, it's, I think people in your, there's a lot of those people in your like feeds and stuff like that, probably because they share similar political ideals and stuff like that,
Could be.
who are
Black
just
pillars.
like any. It's one of those, you look on you look on Twitter anytime there's a COVID story where it's just like look at the story about the 400 people in the Massachusetts town who got COVID, right?
Yeah.
By the way, follow up on that story. Yes, a lot of people who were vaccinated in a town in Massachusetts got sick, but it actually kind of lined up with the same percentage, the efficacy rate of, like, it was a big enough town that 400 people was roughly like 5 or 6% of the town.
Yeah.
Which matches up with like the 95-96% of people who had the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine who got it. And of those 486 people or whatever it was, 95% of them just had mild symptoms and stayed at home for 2 weeks and eventually tested negative and moved on with their lives. It's not that, the real horror story would have been if that town wasn't vaccinated, if it was a year earlier and 4,000 people got sick. And of those 4,000 people, several hundred of them were very ill and went to the hospital and flooded the the hospital and stuff like that. There's people, I think there's people who are like sort of like feel more comfortable in the panic of the idea, like that the world is coming to an end, that it's not good to get that information all the time. Much like it's not good to follow a bunch of people who are like putting up crazy QAnon videos, because like at some point some part of it is going to like fucking burrow through,
That doesn't answer the original question.
Yeah.
I have people at home who just don't seem to give a fuck. They're
Right.
going to go do what they want to do. And I feel like I'm the idiot wearing a mask at work, the last one wearing a mask at work, because we're all now forcibly vaccinated, must be vaccinated to go to the office. So everyone's vaccinated, even though forgetting about that, everyone's vaccinated. I'm still wearing a mask at work to protect the people in my home life.
Yeah.
But the people in my home life just to seem to not give a fuck. People are traveling and coming directly into the home. They're going out and seeing people who are basically out living their lives. They're out living their own lives.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and if, let's say, I was protecting people at work from those people at home, well, the people at work are also going out and living their lives. So why am I this asshole? Why am I the guy who's not going on trips and not doing things I want to do and sacrificing when no one else seems to give a fuck?
No, because I think you're in a similar boat to me, where you're going to be more cautious than whatever recommends.
No, I absolutely do not care, because I understand the probability is I will be fine. I understand that completely. I do everything that I have done, not just this past month, but for the last 18 months, has been what we said from the beginning. I don't care if I die. And before we were vaccinated, I don't care if I get sick and die. It would suck. But what would suck more is I'm asymptomatic and I give it to you.
Yeah.
And then you suffer and die.
Yeah.
But if you are going over to your friend's house who goes out to the bar 3 nights a week, or you are inviting somebody who has recently traveled on an airplane to multiple airports. What the fuck is the point? Why should I feel bad about that? Why should I stop doing what I'm doing if you don't care?
I don't think you should feel bad about doing what you want to do. I'm just saying that like the problem is that, you know, like because we talked about this before. Like before there was mandates and lockdowns and these businesses can't be open because of health and
Sure.
safety measures and blah blah blah. And some of that was necessary and some of it wasn't. It took time to figure out where it was necessary and where it wasn't. But the important thing is that, you know, people will do whatever they can. We're going to do whatever they wanted to right up into the line. Like
Your answer
you
is
don't
I
make
should
the speed
stop
limit
doing
40 miles per hour unless you are expecting people to go 40 or 45 miles an hour on that road, you know? Like
it. So I should stop doing it, because if nobody gives a fuck, then why am I the schmuck in the middle lane doing 40 or 35 out of safety's sake when everyone's flying past me at 70?
I mean, you're
I want to drive 70. I'm already late. I have
Yeah.
things I want to do. I am choosing not to for the safety of a bunch of people who don't care about their own safety.
I really do think it boils down to your to everybody's personal belief in
And I'm
empathy
telling
for
you, that's
others.
not the case. I don't care. I would be in Tulum tomorrow if I didn't feel a personal responsibility for the people around me.
No,
who don't seem to feel the same responsibility for me or for themselves.
I'm saying in the binary, there's two people who only care about whether they get sick, and then people who care about whether or not other people get sick. I
Right.
don't, you know, I care more about getting somebody else sick. I would feel so guilty if I was, you know, and it's not my fault per se, but like if I was on set and I was exposed to somebody who got sick, and then a week later I finally tested positive, but in that time I had worked on 2 other sets and exposed myself to, or exposed potentially other people to my virus.
Sure.
Like I would feel awful for all the people who got it because I got, you know, like I wouldn't
But
feel
how do you
bad
know
for
that's
me
how they
as
got
much
it?
as
Maybe they were going to Dodgers games and they were going out to fucking hard, and who knows what else they were doing.
right, but they could also have just needed to go to the post office to get a new passport photo and gotten it there too. Like there could be 4 people in
Why
that
the fuck
post
they
office.
getting a passport photo? Why
No,
are
I'm
they
just-
traveling
I'm
if they
just
care
saying
that much?
I'm just saying like there's a, you know, you could be somewhere for a perfectly reasonable reason in front of very few people and still get sick, you know?
Yeah. I don't. I am at the point now where I am even saying, what the fuck am I doing? Because if I am trying to be the bulwark between these two worlds and no one in either of these two worlds seems to give a fuck, then what the fuck am I sacrificing for? Why don't I go to Hawaii? Why don't I go to Tulum? Why can't I go sit by a pool and get drunk for 7 days
I'd avoid Hawaii right now, but
and
I
fuck
mean,
some random dude? I mean, nothing? No reaction?
fuck some random dude.
Good Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
No,
I know I've gotten too preachy when Cory checks out. It upsets me because
I have a
go ahead.
No, it's just saying.
There's a dog.
I have
There's
a
a dog.
I have a baby who's asking for attention now. So, do you want to say something? Oh, hi.
Wow, wow.
That's his little. He makes little grunty sounds. Okay.
But no, I mean, I am at the end of my rope. I don't. Literally everybody else at work doesn't care. Literally everybody in my personal life doesn't care. Not everybody. Most people don't care, and the people who don't care are already exposing at a far greater rate the people who do care. So what does it matter? Why am I doing this?
I do think that the same, you know, if I'm taking it from my perspective, I'm still wearing my mask even though I don't have to, like in places where I don't necessarily need, you know, walking around outside, I don't need to be wearing my mask. Does the science show that you are way safer outside than you are inside? Yes, absolutely. If I chose to not wear my mask outside all day, would I be fine? Probably. You know,
Probably.
is there a 15% chance that I'm more likely to get if I walk around without a mask all the time? it might not even be that high, but let's just make that a random number, right?
Mm-hmm.
That 15% is worth it to me. I'd rather just wear the mask and
All right,
keep
now
my.
what's the risk percentage of that compared to having someone in your personal space who's traveled through 4 international airports in the last 72 hours?
Again, I can't control other people. That's
Right, so
constantly
why
been my.
even care about the former if the latter is out of your control? That's my point. Why worry about the former if the latter is out of your control? Because your risk is unbelievably higher in the latter, and that is just going to continue to happen because those people don't care anymore. So why even worry about the former?
This has been a constant throughout my entire life. Like, why, why do I care about something that I have no control over? You know, like, it's
This
not
is
like
why people should be glad that we've come up with law, that Hammurabi back in the day came up with a law code, because if it was still the law of the jungle, I would murder every single one of you. I saw you being stupid in public, I'd hit you with a heavy rock. Cain and Abel style.
Well,
Old Testament justice.
Well, thank God we've evolved to society, so you don't have to go to that.
We live in a society. Come on.
So you know.
No, because apparently we don't. Apparently we're just a bunch of selfish individuals who live in close proximity to each other. That's what we are.
Can we shift dramatically for the last 5 minutes of the show and just talk some sports ball?
Yep.
Can we do a quick right swerve to avoid the rest of that conversation to just get on to some sports ball?
No, I just want to point out something that you are not aware of, but I have had at least 2 conversations about how non-confrontational everyone in my personal life is, and this is a perfect example. Go ahead, sports ball.
We debate all the time. I don't know what to tell you.
Can't even. No, it's like I don't even want to talk about it in the abstract where I don't mention people's names, where I could absolutely mention people's names.
I get that. I was trying to veer right because I could feel a pending demonetization coming with the conversation as it was going. I just wanted to
talking about murder. What?
Yeah. I mean, like, you put it under the pretenses of like way back when in the day. So let's just keep it there and move on quickly. So the Orioles suck.
15,000-year-old viruses that are going to be released, and if you have access to a BSL-4 lab, let me know. I would just unrelated topics. Viruses that could cause a pandemic that would kill 98% of humans. I need a lab in which to grow a very dangerous.
Do you want to? What are your general thoughts on the Orioles having lost 18 straight games? Is this
we may not win a game for the rest of the year. It's a possibility.
The Orioles sent out an email this morning about they're selling an NFT.
Okay. You guys want to buy season tickets next year? We're giving them away. Buy one, get 3 free.
They were trying to sell an NFT, and there's like if you buy the gold one, which of course the bidding starts at $1,700. There's experiences that you could get, like throw out the first pitch and meet and greet with players and stuff like that. And I simply responded
to the NFT. I mean, bid on the team. $1,700 for that NFT. The team's got to be worth what, $2,000-$3,000? Come on.
I mean, shit. If it was that, I'd fucking do it right now.
Really owe my money. Got to be running out. I'm just saying.
I'm so beyond confused with this team. Like, I get that the idea of losing as many games as possible is beneficial because you get a higher draft pick. And, like, given Adley Rushman and stuff like that, like, it seems like having high draft picks is beneficial because you get better players for your farm system. But as we talked about last week, the Orioles now have the new 2 farm system in the whole majors.
Which, by the way, I'm realizing is a really interesting way of saying, like, these guys have sucked for a while. That's how you get. Yeah, instead of saying that, you say they have a really good farm system.
Yeah, they've been putting in the players who aren't playing on the major league level. Now, I also get, like fucking Grayson Rodriguez, our best pitching prospect. He's still on the younger side. He still hasn't had a lot of experience in the minor league balls, and you don't want to rush him. to just get
Future
slaughtered
Chicago
and
Cub.
to
Future
get
Chicago
slaughtered
Cub,
in the
or,
major leagues. Bring them up slow, but at the same time, like I like the players the Orioles let go this past offseason, like Hanser Alberto and Renato Nunez. They didn't like do really well elsewhere, so it's not like we lost out on having like a valuable piece on the team. But at the same time, it just feels like you're watching if you watch like a Yankee game or a Dodger game, right? Like, the Dodgers just picked up Albert Pujols in the middle of the season just because, and it's just Albert Pujols, a future Hall of Famer, just being a a platoon first baseman, and pinch hitter off the bench. Like, he's just a bench piece for the Dodgers. I understand that the Orioles aren't in the place to compete right now, so a player like Albert Pujols doesn't want to sign with them. But at the same time, like, there was something I liked at least about the Oriole years where we were a terrible team and we were losing all the time, but at least it looked like we were making a baseline effort to try. You know what I mean? Like,
spoilers, like the Braves are down. We can't win one game against a sliding team that we can get out of the playoffs.
Do you remember? You remember when like the Orioles signed like Javi Lopez and Miguel Tejada, and like there was one other who else was like they would sign Sosa and stuff like stupid.
Oh, listen, I
stupid
get
things
it.
that like didn't
The
help
Orioles,
win
the Orioles
the
are
World
like
Series.
you. I know why you like the team, because you like to make investment in players that are late in their career, past their prime, and make long-term investments.
I mean, I'm just I just wish at the very least they tried a little bit. That's what it just feels like, they're not trying at all right now. And I feel bad for the players because they have to be this laughing stock. And like I feel bad for like Hyde in a way, because like how are you supposed to look like a good manager if everything you're given is players who are not major league players on any other team, Like, it's not like there's certainly players who I think in the future will be members of a potential Orioles playoff team, like Trey Mancini and Cedric Mullins and John Means. All these players could.
I think they are members of a future playoff team. I do not think it's a future Orioles playoff team.
I mean, there's always that too. But I'm saying, like, there's some good players there, but then at the same time, it's just like, name me one other team where DJ Stewart is playing every day. Like it's not, there's no.
And that's the thing. If you watch the highlights, it's not as if they're not trying.
Yeah.
It's just they're not a good team.
Yeah.
And it's problematic.
And more recently, it's not even that they're losing. Like, there have been a couple games here where I was just like, like I wasn't at, West Coast time. Game starts at 4. I wasn't home to turn it on at 4. I was out doing things. I had some errands to run. And then, so I'm getting home at like 5 o'clock.
People in my home life do not give a fuck.
I had to pick up rental stuff for work. And I get home at 5 and I would look at the score on the MLB app and I'd be like, oh, we're already losing 12-0 in the 4th inning.
Yep.
Perhaps I'm just not going to watch the game today. Perhaps this just isn't in the cards today. And the number of times where I've been coming up to being able to watch the Orioles game and just realizing that we're getting slaughtered. And like, what is the point? On the opposite end of the spectrum, in a way, is the Ravens, who are getting close to kickoff. I'm getting real excited for football. I don't know about you.
No, I mean, listen, the world's about to end. So,
so
listen,
why not win? Why not win the world, or why not win the Super Bowl in the last year of Earth? Woo! We'll go down in history as the forever NFL champion if that happens.
Yes, I'm sure that your your future child born into the apocalypse will care so much that the Ravens, I mean, they will, because for their first 11 years of life, Dad will talk about nothing except for the fact that, well, I mean, I know the world's ended and stuff, and the zombies and the cannibals.
I'm gonna lift up my hypothetical little girl and just be like, Lamar, you should have seen it. It was such a good game today.
Yeah, Cory's just going off the deep end. He perennially lives in January or February of 2022. Just like, Dad, I'm 19 years old.
Stop bouncing me on your knee.
It is 2043. We need to move on with life. No, you don't understand, kid. It was such a good game.
Lamar was electric. But the Ravens, on the opposite end of the spectrum, in a way, have won 19 straight preseason games, which is one of those records that means nothing because preseason games mean nothing. But at the same time, much like the Orioles, 18 straight is just demoralizing. Like, I expect them to be a bad team who loses games, but just not 18 straight like blowouts. Like, that's basically, I have very low expectations for this team. The Ravens, I don't expect them to win every single preseason game, but hey, it's nice. Like, what am I supposed to say? It's just nice. And it's nice because the Ravens seem to have a very deep team with good players who are like second and third string down the line. So we're winning these games because we have really good players going. Our backups are better than their backups, which is most of who plays these games.
Our furniture movers are better than their furniture movers.
Well, and like even even in places where you're not going to get a. So there's another, Justin Tucker is our kicker. There's no, unless something happens to Justin Tucker, as long as he's healthy and available, he will be the kicker up until the time where he's like, fucking 50 and he decides to hang him up. I assume he's just
become an opera singer full time.
He's just gonna go like the fucking what was the kicker from the Patriots and the Colts who played forever.
Gotskowski? No.
No.
He's not that old.
I can't remember. Anyway,
the guy who was like 45 and still kicking.
Still kicking. Morton Anderson. How about that one?
Yeah,
it's an old classic. Yeah. Justin Tucker is the new Morton Anderson. I think that you're not going to replace Justin Tucker, but you're going to have another kicker on the team for a little while because you want to see how somebody does. Maybe put him on the practice squad, or if something went horribly awry, like if Justin Tucker hurt his ankle and was going to miss a couple weeks, like maybe you could pick this guy up.
Also, just to push Tucker, like, no, listen, everybody fights for their job here, you just kicked a 67-year-old yard field goal, but that doesn't matter.
Or the other thing is the, like we, specifically with the other kicker on the team right now, there's a chance that we could trade him for a late draft pick. That's just free money. Why would you turn that down? Like, that's free real estate. Take it.
And I mean, I think that's the other thing too, is that like saying our furniture movers are better than yours isn't fair, because there are some guys in our fourth line that might end up on a third or second line on another team.
Oh yeah.
And you just end up trading those guys for, cash or
a 6th-round draft pick. Yeah.
And free money. We just picked up a furniture mover who we're going to make an NFL player, and you're not good enough because we have 3 guys who are better in front of you, but you're going to be great
for the purposes of training camp. We needed 80 people. So we need to have 100 people on this roster so that we can have even teams of people like working out their skills. And a lot of you aren't going to make this team. And a lot of the positions are already kind of sewn up at this point. But I'm looking forward to this Ravens season. I think there has been. I'm just gonna say this now. We'll save the like official Ravens preview for at some point. But I think there has been a fucking insurmountable amount of slander on Lamar Jackson's name, and I'm really looking forward to.
He's one of those slightly.
I know. People. I hate that. It's the one thing I really don't like about Lamar right now is the will he, won't he of the vaccine after getting COVID twice. I'm just like, please.
I already had it twice. How many times could I have it?
Please, for the love of God, just get the vaccine. I don't need this right now. Like,
so here's my question though: Are you willing to go put $100 on the Ravens for the Super Bowl at this point?
I mean, yeah. What are the odds? Are they any good? I don't think that's.
Everybody in my life does not give a fuck. They just want to go on vacation to Vegas and hang out. Here I am being a schmuck. That is just a long setup to get you to say you would want to go to Vegas.
Well, I mean, like I can do this without a.
What? You're gonna put a sports bet down in California? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I can drive into Vegas at 6 a.m. on a Monday or on a Tuesday. I can just go right into the sports book and then right out and then go back to California, and I don't have to expose myself. Yeah, I was listening
down to the Mohawk Casino, man. That's not California. That's federal land. It's an independent nation. They can have their own laws.
By the way, just in case you're wondering, though, it looks like the Super Bowl odds, according to DraftKings, is plus 1,400 for the Ravens.
Well, that's because there's a plus 400 chance that Lamar gets COVID twice or more during the season.
There
That's
are no good. That's not a good line. What the plus 1,400? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because our star quarterback is going to go down for 9 weeks with COVID twice.
So I mean, like, realistically, it seems like the Chiefs and the Buccaneers are still the heavy favorites to go back. Nobody really repeats that often anymore.
So wait, $100 pays $14,100.
Yeah, the 100 gets you 1,400. I mean, 1,500 with your money back too.
1,400 to 1, right? So 100 gets you 14,000.
No, it's plus 14.
Oh, I thought you said 1,400 to 1. My fault. No. Okay, sorry.
Plus 1,400. So you got to bet $100 to get that rate.
Yes.
But the Ravens are listed 5 here, so it's Chiefs, Bucks, Bills, Rams, Ravens. 49ers.
If anyone from the state is watching, clearly I don't use a sports book. Somebody on this podcast does.
I'm just on VegasInsider.com. It's a perfectly legal website in this.
You're
for entertainment for entertainment purposes only. It's a great site. Listen, if you wanted to click on something like you were going to make a bet, it's going to ask you what state you live in, and my state isn't on there, so I have to drive to Vegas like a schlub.
Again, or drive down to the Mohawk Casino and just do it there. Pretty sure they have a sports.
Too weird to live, too rare to die. Anyway. What? What?
What is that?
Really?
Yeah.
That's Fear and Loathing Las Vegas.
Oh my God. Oh. You, of all people, breeder, are not allowed to quote Hunter S. Thompson.
I was the one who recognized what I was saying.
I know, but also you're a breeder. You're not allowed to quote him.
I love Hunter S. Thompson.
You live a life opposite of him, and I live a life he would be envious of. So do not, for 1 second. I'm going to go sit in my apartment in the dark and play COD for the next 7 days. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, because it's the Hunter S. Thompson way. I'm going to sit here in my room sober and play Call of Duty, just like Hunter S. Thompson would do.
Very, very much what he would do. Anyway, that was Sportsball. You might not have been done. I'm just cutting.
No, that's fine.
We're at 125. So.
Yeah. Well, would you look at that? OTheAnthem.com, Cory OTheAnthem.com, or The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. And you can find more of me at my website, CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm, and at LegendsB5 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
What about YouTube?
Tune in tomorrow on social media platforms of all kinds for fine baby-related content, where I will be revealing a gender. So,
related content.
As far as YouTube is concerned, I have a great idea for a new video. So I'll tell you about that, and then hopefully I get to film it here soon. And then I'll put it up, and then I probably won't have time to do anything because of the baby all the time. So let's see.
I was gonna say you got to get a lot of content done in the next.
I'm gonna have to match 18 years of content. So it's gonna.
I was gonna say
it's gonna be a busy.
You just found out she was pregnant, so you got a solid 7 months to bank 18 years of content. So, what's 20 weeks? How much is 20 weeks? That's not 7 months. No. Much less time. Don't feel the pressure. By the way, also, I was fully prepared to make that transition, and then you did nothing of the usual setup at all. Just straight to like, here's what I am. So thank you.
Oh, it's okay. I'm sorry. I just I felt the pressure of let's get out of here. So I decided.
Everyone in my life is just doing what they want. Anyway, you can find more of me. More of this fine content. I'm just going to start turning into a grumpy old man who screams at video cameras. I think that is going to be my niche. So you can find that on YouTube and on all social media at Robert and Cheek. YouTube, Rob Cheek. And Robert and Cheek, by the way, robertandcheek.com, where you can find links to all the stuff I'm doing. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Robert and Cheek, where I am streaming my Call of Duty.
Just like Hunter S.
Splitgate.
Thompson would do.
Just like Hunter S. Thompson would do. And I got nothing else going on. That's it. Because I'm being responsible and staying at home. Although I'm, like I said, I'm at the point of fuck it. So either I'm going to be booking that trip to Lhasa so I can go up on the Tibetan Glacier and get one of those viruses and just start my career of supervillainy, or I'm going to go to Tulum and find some TikTok hoes by a pool and stay tuned for that content too. Either way, it's probably going to be interesting. So,
well, I think we've done good here today. And
what I'm excited about is that, like 16 or 17 years from now,
just say the second.
We can show your child the episode where you were like announcing that you were pregnant, and this is that episode.
Thank God. When did you tell the world about me, Daddy?
I got an episode for you. Uncle Rob coming in. I've been waiting for you to ask, sweetie. Let you listen to something. And then afterwards, she's just like, "You haven't changed in 17 years." I'm like, "You're damn right."
I'm still
just as grumpy, just as ornery. We've done something.
At that point, Rob's bald with a fucking hairless cat.
First of all, you've seen my father. The chances of me going bald, very slim.
You do it on your own to get the Dr. Evil aesthetic.
Okay, maybe, yes. Although maybe I'll go for a number 2 aesthetic. Because like Robert Wagner, I'll eventually throw a woman in the ocean.
Oh my God.
We've done something. I don't know.
Yeah, clearly we haven't done something good.
But it's always... I watched the thing about Natalie Wood and it's fresh on my mind. And it was like number 2. Oh, wait, Robert Wagner. Oh, wait. Yeah, he killed his wife. I mean, allegedly may have been involved in her for suing purposes. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast.
Because that's what's going to help us in this moment.
For Cory, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody. Black pill yourself. The world's over. Who cares? None of this even matters. We're going to have to save this on digital cassette so Cory's child can listen to it in 17 years.
And the I Am Legend version of American history to follow.
I'm going to save an iPod with only 1 hour worth of listening.
It's this one.
For 17 years. And just be like, I've been waiting for this moment. Here, put your headphones on. It's going to be great, kiddo. I knew you were crazy, but always? That's embarrassing.